just in terms of their priorities, why do they think that the first thing to dismantle is Hinduism in India? Why is it that they see no? Why don't they think that jihadi Islam needs dismantling, or the Han autocracy in China, or any of the really oppressive regimes that are threatening the whole of humanity, not just their own countries? I mean, China is threatening to invade everybody inside. So the point is, why do they think that those oppressive structures do not need to be dismantled, and that India, which threatens nobody, is the first to be dismantled? What is the prioritization here?
So you see, the thing is that this is where the Indians come into the picture. Indian intellectuals have thronged at Harvard in unprecedented numbers. I tell you, it's not just a few hundred people that have been trained; it's in the thousands. If you look at all the students that have been brainwashed, all the conferences they're having, bringing, and all the seminars and all of that, and Harvard has set up shop in India, in Bombay, Delhi. They've set up their own campuses, their own sort of outreach places for research and for spreading their knowledge. So the Indians have thronged into Harvard and joined in larger numbers than anyone else. I do a chapter comparing China and India at Harvard, and China has done a very good job of managing Harvard according to their national requirements. They have made sure that their funding is such that the Harvard people are pro-China in terms of they're not criticizing China on Tibet or these Uyghur things, or even this Taiwan and Hong Kong. Harvard is very muted. Okay, they're very modest in their complaint. But when it comes to India, there are these Khalistanis, there are these Kashmir separatists, there are all kind of people. So the difference between the way Harvard treats India and the Harvard treats China is very different. And that has to do with the nature of the Chinese who go there and influence, and the nature of the Indians who go there and influence. The Indians are very easy to sell out. India is being sold by Indians. And so the answer to your question is that the reason India is a major target is because lots of Indians are for sale. And they have been sold out and they've been co-opted. Why the British succeeded in co-opting sepoys in India, but could not raise a single garrison of Chinese military people in China? That's an important story. You know, there were more than 100 wars that the British fought during their empire using Indian sepoys. They fought these wars in India and in China and in Africa and various places because they could recruit a large number of Indian sepoys, loyal to them, obedient to them, and then they could deploy them. But in China, the British tried to raise a military. They could not raise even one garrison because the Chinese refused to work for the British. So this is really into the self-esteem of Chinese and their sense of honor and their sense of racial pride and who they are. Which is quite the opposite of India. So India is an easy target because Indians are for sale. This is a very sad thing, and this is not the fault of the current government. This happened long ago. It's continuing. This level of decolonization has not started.
Right.
This is what this book points out, that level of decolonization has not started. And so Harvard is like the new Oxford. Oxford played this role during the British Empire. Harvard is playing this role today in supplying the intellectual side of things. And Harvard has done a better job because they've co-opted Indians. Oxford did not succeed Oxford didn't even try to bring in brown-skinned people in top positions. Right. But Harvard has done that. Whether it is Amartya Sen, and I name, in this book, I name a lot of them, by the way. I am not afraid to name names. So I'm naming a very powerful lot of people who are based in the US and based in India and based in Europe. I'm naming a lot of them. And they are important people, well-known people.